Hi there, it's Dee the SLP with Spirit Speech Consulting. I am a speech language pathologist who helps parents understand the harmful effects of excessive digital programming in the development of language in young children. And I assist them in creating an environment that fosters developmental growth and success that their children will benefit from for years to come. Thank you so much for jumping in and watching. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, welcome. And if you are returning for more, welcome back. This is the second installment in a two-part video series discussing the 4 building blocks of language development. As always, I will give you a quick tip at the very end of the video, so make sure you watch until the very end. Okay, the 4 building blocks of language development are attention, problem solving, communication, and socialization. Building blocks refer to the key components that build a foundation for developmental growth. The stronger the blocks, the stronger the foundation, and the more developed your child will be. In this video, I will discuss the last 2, communication and socialization. If you were able to watch the first video, you know that I gave a very brief explanation of how the brain develops. If you missed it, please feel free to watch the first video. It's very important to understand because if you have a working knowledge of how the brain develops, you will be more equipped to foster a language-rich environment for your child. And I always say, and I have a lot of sayings, the more you know, the more you grow. So education is really important. All right, so let's jump on into communication. Your child begins learning communication skills in utero. From very early on, you and your child are building a foundation of how communication works. While your child was cooking in your tummy, they were hearing your voice, becoming familiar with your tone, and communicating with you by kicking, turning over, and even hiccuping. Maybe something you ate was spicy and it didn't agree with them. Or maybe a position you were lying in was uncomfortable for them, so they gave you a kick. These are communicative responses, and you probably never realize how early your child starts communicating with you. Isn't that something? After they are born, they communicate with you through cries. You begin to communicate back by your responses to those cries. You hear your child crying close to feeding time, and you respond with the bottle or with some food. You hear a high-pitched cry and determine your child is hurt, and you respond with soothing that hurt. You hear a whine and figure your child just wants your attention, so you go to them and give them that attention they're seeking. This back and forth is called a communication exchange, and it requires a sender and a receiver. So remember that because that's going to be very important. As we learned in the first video, the brain learns by experiencing through building pathways that form connections. These connections that are used more often become stronger, while the other connections that are not used eventually are eliminated. Age-appropriate experiences strengthens those connections. The problem with what we allow our children to digitally consume is that your child is the receiver of communication, but mostly not the sender. So remember that communication needs a sender and receiver. Your child is not practicing saying words, asking questions, or commenting on the information they are viewing. They are taking in the catchy music, colorful displays, fast-paced sequences, unnatural-looking characters, and in some cases, without a real point of reference for what they're even watching. The early communicative foundation that you built with your child is being weakened when there is an excess of screen time during these very early stages of development. The opportunities to talk back and forth are greatly reduced when a child has a screen in their face. Opportunities to talk are even reduced for the parent. A parent speaks about 940 words per hour when a toddler is around in the absence of screens. Do you think that number increases or decreases when a screen is turned on? You're correct if you said decreases. With fewer words, you are creating an environment of fewer learning opportunities. The best thing is to participate with your child so you can model the appropriate words, actions, and create opportunities for your child to comment and as well as ask and answer questions. Now, this is not a time to feel guilty. I've said before, digital creators target our children for financial gain. They create shows and apps and digital content that are addictive. You as the parent may not even realize how harmful these things can be. So don't go beating yourself up. But that's why I'm here to help you understand what you are dealing with in the digital pediatric space and why you should be more vigilant. Don't give in to mom's guilt. It doesn't help you or propel you forward. Instead, tell yourself, duly noted, and move forward with gradual changes. Now, let's move on to the last component in the 4 building blocks, and that is socialization. Social skills are all about building relationships that enable you to connect with others positively. Good social skills are needed well into adulthood and are built early on in development. Social skills involve sharing, following directions, showing manners, expressing kindness, using eye contact, and cooperating with others. These skills help us to form relationships, build lasting friendships, and work well with others on a team, and also to have a positive well-being. Socialization starts with parent and child. The parent learns social rules from their environment, or what I like to say, home training. I would tell my boys, when you leave this house, you are representing your family name. Don't go anywhere and act like you didn't have good home training. We all want our children to be a good representation of us and our parenting. During this time, parents and other caregivers are children's main source of information about the world. Parents teach children how to manage their feelings, relate to others, and develop a sense of self-worth. This is an important part of growing up and plays a central role in shaping who your child will become and how they will be able to interact with the world. You don't want what your child is viewing on a screen to be their primary way of learning social norms and how to interact with others. But with excessive screen time, this is what could happen. When tablets, phones, computers, and television are viewed in excess, children lose the chance to practice using eye contact, following directions, cooperating with others, and using manners. This creates a reduction in the opportunities a child has to be creative, use their imagination, and the best use of their time in the early years, play. Because a lot of digital programming is overstimulating, it really teaches the child that low energy activities such as playing with toys or playing outside aren't as fun and entertaining as watching a screen. So I hope you can see the harmful effects that I'm talking about here. Children are born to play and run and explore. Their very childhood is being robbed when they spend too much time on a screen. With the reduction of language building activities, a child may not develop the social skills needed to succeed in school and even adulthood. Children who have poor social skills often struggle through school and later in life. They could also be far more likely to have emotional problems and behavioral issues when they are teenagers. Social skills are really that important. You probably didn't think of it that way, but it really is. Not all digital programming is bad or harmful. A lot are, but some really are useful. And in future videos, I will talk more about how to discern which ones are good and which ones you should avoid at all costs. I hope this helps in giving you some useful information on how language is developed in children. A child's early experiences directly influence their later development. Early childhood experiences provide the foundation on which all future learning is built. Good attention, problem solving, communication, and socialization skills develop that foundation. And children need opportunities to master these skills and practice them regularly and be involved in rich relationships with caregivers who support and encourage them. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for listening. Hey, it's Dee the SLP with your quick tip. I've been talking a lot about reducing screen time, and I recognize it could be very difficult to make changes, especially if your child is very dependent on their tablet, phone, or laptop. One thing you can do right now is to have a media-free zone in your home. This may be at the dinner table where no media is allowed. Make sure to turn off the television, remove all electronics from the table, And yes, Mom, that means even yours. And have a media-free dinner. This behavior models the importance of family time, and attention is given to building family connections. Another media-free zone could be your child's bedroom. Just so you know, it is not recommended for children under the age of 5 to have a television in their room. And I'll talk about that also in another video. But you can set a rule that the bedrooms have no media sources whatsoever. So now they can associate their room with playtimes, reading times, and sleeping. Creating media-free zones is a good step in establishing rules around media consumption. This will show your child that boundaries are important and very much needed. I know it's hard, but you have to start somewhere. It will be even harder when your child is having difficulties in school due to the gaps in development that was created through excessive media exposure. Fight the battle early, Mama. All right? Hope this was helpful. Thanks so much for your time and support. If you know of others who could benefit from this information, please invite them to my Facebook group called Pandemic Mama, or my business pages on YouTube and Instagram at Spirit Speech Consulting. I will post videos on my YouTube channel every week. So see you next time. Bye.